Well, good morning. Good morning indeed. That's a good sleep. I'm going to give you some tips, I think, for living in a very small car. Here's my one. There's the outside, as you can probably see. Just pull the curtain away a bit. Oh, it's a bit misty. Or rather, the window's a bit misted up. Let's get up, I think. Right, I'm now out of bed, you'll be pleased to hear. What would I recommend in terms of living in a car? Well, first off, sure you ventilate properly. There we go. Overnight, so always have a window slightly ajar, because otherwise you'll get lots of condensation like I have on the inside. And there's my socks, they're moist as well. Don't, whatever you do, leave your wet socks that you've just washed on the windscreen on the inside, like I have here, because they'll just vaporise, you know, the water will evaporate off of them, and that'll be on the inside, and you'll end up getting kind of black mould on the kind of upholstery in the car. So really good ventilation. Don't dry your underwear or your socks inside your vehicle. Now, another thing I'd recommend is don't have loads and loads of stuff. So if you are going to move into a tiny little car like I have, this is a Citroen C1, you're going to have to minimise. You're going to have to get rid of loads and loads of gear, which I've kind of done, but I've also singly failed to do. I've still got way too much stuff in here for a car. So the other thing I would do is don't attempt to sleep on the driver's seat. Remove the passenger seat if you can. You'll need to check the old seatbelt warning light system and the airbags as well. So go to a garage, make sure you can remove the passenger seat without all those warning lights from the seatbelt and the airbags flashing red, because that's potentially an MOT fail. So take it to a garage, make sure you can actually remove the passenger seat of the vehicle. They should be able to work out the sensors for the seatbelt and for the airbags. And if you can remove the passenger seat in a way that doesn't set those sensors off and cause a potential MOT fail, then do that. Then remove the passenger seat. Keep putting my hand in front of the camera, and let your insurance company know that it's a modification. If it doesn't have a passenger seat and you haven't let your insurance company know that you've modified the vehicle in that way, then it's a potential fail in terms of insurance. It may void your insurance. So make sure you get that sorted out. So yeah, 2 tips there, 3 tips there. Ventilation, minimise your belongings. I don't have anything in storage, so everything that I possess, I own, is in this vehicle, so you'll have to be a minimalist. So minimise your gubbins, your stuff, your junk, because cleaning is going to be a blooming problem in a little vehicle like this. Well, it is and it isn't. And the third thing I said was remove the passenger seat, and then you can have a bed basically that goes from the back. Look at all the junk I've got in here, from the back all the way through to the front. And I've got 7 foot, this is a tiny little Citroen C1. I've got a 7 foot mattress in here, not a very good one. Get a proper mattress is another good tip. Don't do what I've done, just have a soft bit of foam and another camping mattress underneath on a plank of wood that's kind of bridging where the passenger seat was. Get a decent mattress. You can have the plank of wood, but other than that, get a decent mattress. You'd have a decent, nice night's sleep. But if you do have a decent mattress, I've got a 7 foot span in here of my bed, believe it or not. So yeah, it works very well for me in terms of space. That's not a problem. But I am a bit of a minimalist, and you'll need to be a bit of a minimalist if you're going to live in a tiny little car. Now, I do this through choice. If you don't do that, I basically moved initially into a Citroen Berlingo, which is a small van, and I love that little Berlingo. It's perfect for living in stealthily. If you're going to be moving into a car, there's obviously a lot less space if it's a very small car like this, or if it's a bigger car, then it might be comparable to a Berlingo or something, a small cargo van, but mine isn't. So just accept, if you're basically choosing to or are forced to live in a car, just accept you're going to have a lot less space and a lot less privacy. I've got my little curtains here, so I draw these across overnight, not at all stealthy, but it certainly does the job. Just accept people are going to know you're in your car. Doesn't bother me anymore. Didn't. Okay, so I've had to switch over to my other camera because the storage ran out on my phone. Now another tip is I do cook in my car, so to save money I use this thing, a little gas stove, one ring. I've not cleaned this yet, I need to clean this, and one little pan. Perfectly doable. I cook some pretty nice meals in that in the evening, so yeah, just it's perfectly feasible basically to cook in a car. I normally cook things like stir fry chicken with one of the sauces, the is it Blue Dragon sauces like satay or black bean sauce, that kind of stuff. All completely feasible. So I've gained a little bit of privacy by putting this kind of metal foil stuff on the inside of these windows at the back, the side windows and the back windows. These are basically the heat deflectors that you put behind radiators. Costs about £7 on Amazon for a big extent of the stuff, and I just cut it up and stuck it in the windows just to give a little bit of privacy, and also deflect some of the heat out of the vehicle and keep some of the warmth in winter. Deflect the heat out in summer, keep the warmth in winter. And as you can see, it's a very tiny little car, but I've got a 7-foot bed in the back there. Park up somewhere reasonably quiet. Don't know if anyone can guess where I am in southern England, where I'm parked. Anyone recognise this spot? Of course you don't. This might give the game away. See if you can find that on Google. So yeah, find somewhere discreet. People are going to know you're in your car, especially if you've got foil on the windscreen or the back windows like I have. But that's fine. I mean, you just get used to it. If you're kind of forced to live in a vehicle, it can be a little bit humiliating, I suppose, initially. It's purely by choice with me. I absolutely enjoy it. I love it. I love the lifestyle, so it's not a problem for me. So I don't mind people knowing I'm in there. I just get on with the local community. That's another tip really, is don't be in everyone's faces. Be a nice kind of respectful person within the community. Get to know people, especially if you've got a regular park up. Get to know the people around that area. Make sure they're okay with it. Make sure they know you, and that will make things a lot easier in terms of relationships and not getting angry people saying please move on from parking outside our house. Just be respectful. Okay, they may be busybodies, but that's not really the point. If you want a nice quiet life, be nice to people. I think they got drowned out. Nice quiet life, eh? So in terms of tips for staying clean, which is always a popular subject, commenters on this channel, so gym membership is the main hack for people that live in vehicles. Join a local gym, then you can use their showers and go swimming and go to the gym itself, stay fit and healthy. But you can also use just public facilities. So I will work in cafes and they have bathrooms. You can easily flannel down in a bathroom. Wet wipes are really nice, as in the human healthy safe ones that are recyclable, or not recyclable but compostable. Don't use the floor cleaner ones because they're full of very toxic chemicals. So yeah, wet wipes are very handy for car dwellers and van dwellers. But really, gym membership and public facilities is the main hack. If you're near a university campus, they'll quite often have showers for cyclists that go into the campus. They're essentially public showers. What a lovely time of year this is. Now, another tip is, if you do end up living in a car or a vehicle and you're forced by circumstances, don't just give up in terms of making money, earning a living, rising yourself out of the situation you're in. I mean, I absolutely choose to live in a vehicle, and I'm currently working full-time in a job, in employment, but I'm also building up various side hustles. So I write books, and I've got this YouTube channel. I'm creating online courses. I've purchased a couple of drones. I'm going to be doing some drone contract work in the future. There's all sorts of little things you can do if you're confined to a car, if you've kind of been forced to live in a car. You can earn money whilst you're living in a car, even if you don't want to be employed by an employer, if you don't want to go to a 9-to-5 job. You can actually create your own businesses. And like I say, my little micro businesses, of which I have multiple that I'm building up, not enough to earn a living yet, but they will get there within a year or two. So mine are, as I said, writing books, YouTube channel. You can get an income from having YouTube videos when you meet certain criteria, and creating online courses. It's dead simple to do that kind of stuff these days. And drones, you can buy relatively low cost drones once you're in a financial position to do so, and then you can get kind of work from real estate, building developers and people wishing to sell houses and want nice drone photography, that kind of stuff. So, and also you can use your drone to enhance your YouTube channel. So I could easily put up the drone once you're licensed to do it here, walking along, and get some nice high level bird's eye view of me walking along. That kind of stuff just enhances your YouTube videos. So the point is, if you're forced to live in a car, don't assume that you then have to drop out of society and you can't earn money, because you absolutely can. So what else? Another tip for living in a car. Well, I actually live by the sea normally. I'm not by the sea today because I'm down here for meetings, down wherever I am. You've got to tell me where I am, but if you can guess. If you live by the sea, then in summer you can go swimming in the sea, which is really healthy and also has a good way of staying clean. Now, it's fairly straightforward in summer. You don't really live in your car. You're going to be sleeping in the car as if it's a tent, as if you're camping basically, and cooking in the car. You can't really do in a tent, but you certainly can in a car. But during the day, you're not really in the car. So whereas with a conventional house, you're likely to be in there quite a lot. Well, are you though? If you've got a working week, you probably won't be in the house very much. But you're certainly not going to be in your vehicle very much, unless you have a bigger van. If you've got a bigger van, then you can potter around in it during the day if you really so desire. I never do. I just always want to get out. So you're going to be living from the car. It's basically your bedroom, and it can double up as your kitchen. I cook in the evenings, but during the day I'm outside. I'm never really in the car. In dry weather like this, I'll be out walking around a lot and doing videos and doing voice to text writing. So I don't really type my books, my manuscripts. I tend to talk and convert what I'm saying to text, and basically then I'll, if the weather's rubbish or I just fancy a cup of coffee, or if I need to charge things up, then I'll go to a cafe, so a little local cafe in town, and work in there for an hour or two, buy a cup of coffee, plug my gear in, use their Wi-Fi, do some writing. So that's effectively what you'll probably tend to do if you live in a car. You'll wander around and you'll go to cafes, or you'll go to a job if you're working full-time. I do work full-time, but it's a remote job, so I work, I do that work either out doing farm visits, or that's the field I work in, advising farmers on various things. So I'll be out in the field, or I'll be working in cafes, writing reports, writing my books, editing YouTube videos. So yeah, that is a tip really, is don't assume you'll be living in your car. You'll be living from your car. You'll be sleeping in it, you'll probably be cooking in it, and during the day you'll be out and about probably, if you're anything like me. Now during the winter, obviously the situation is quite different. Let's go down here, trying to avoid recording too many people. There's a dog over there. Yeah, let's walk this way. What else can we say? I think just enjoy the lifestyle, so don't feel down and out and gloomy and depressed if you're living in a car. If you choose to, and I would strongly recommend, if you've got the option, giving it a go. So if you choose to, then it's a really good lifestyle. If you're forced to live in a car, then it can be a really good lifestyle as well. And you can save loads of money if you're earning a reasonable amount of money, you can save most of it, because your costs are going to be much, much lower than if you lived in a house paying a mortgage or paying rent. So I do earn not that much, to be honest, but enough to be saving a fair amount. I still have to pay council tax, although I'm advised you don't need to. Not advised. Somebody in a comment said you don't really have to if you're not in a fixed house. My vehicle is registered. You will need somewhere to register your vehicle with DVLA, and if you're in the UK, and also for insurance purposes and road tax, you'll need a home address. So I just use a relative's address. If you've got a friend or a relative, then just register your vehicle there, and you may need to pay council tax there. I do, just because I think it's the right thing to do. I pay a contribution towards council tax as if I'm renting a room in the house where my vehicle is registered. It's actually a relative's house, and I just do that to help them out. And because I think probably you do actually legally have to pay council tax. I don't know. Bills are easy, you don't have the standing charges, but you will need to purchase gas for your stove if you use a gas stove. You can charge all your gear up in cafes, like I say, but you'll need to buy coffee if you do that, so you need money for that. You can buy little kind of power banks. So DJI and Anker and Bluetti, they all do really good power banks that you can plug things into, and you can charge those up using the lighter socket in your vehicle when you're running the car, or with solar panels. So I've not yet attached solar panels to my C1, but I could easily get 200 watts on there, which would be more than enough to provide electricity for me during the summer on sunny days, less electricity during the winter on overcast days. But the modern day solar panels are so efficient that you'll still get at least some electricity drawn from the solar panels, and if you combine that with charging the battery up whilst you're driving the car, then you'll easily have enough electricity to keep you going to charge up laptops and mobile phones and drones, in my case, that kind of stuff. There's another tip there: if you live in a vehicle, try and invest in a really efficient computer of some sort if you need a computer to work on. So something like an iPad with one of the lower cost keyboard cases, Magic Keyboard style cases, like the Nimon keyboard case, which works with an iPad Air, which is what I have. You'll just use less electricity. You'll have to charge it up less if you've got an up-to-date, either a laptop like an iPad, MacBook Air, or a tablet like an iPad Air. Just have something that's efficient with decent battery life and fast charging, so you can charge it in a cafe that is going to last a bit. That'll mean you have to charge it up less. How do you receive post if you live in a vehicle? Well, that's easy. So my kind of business type post, I don't have businesses, but things like DVLA post and a speeding ticket I got a long time ago, that kind of post goes to your registered address. But I never go to my registered address. I just get a phone call if I get a piece of post that looks important, probably once a year if I'm unlucky, that frequently. None of my bank statements go there. It's all online now, so get into online banking so you can go paper free. But otherwise, Amazon Prime is brilliant because it's free delivery of gadgets or whatever you need that you can get via Amazon. Obviously you get Prime Video as well, so in the evenings, once the evenings get shorter, you're going to want some evening entertainment, and you either go to pubs, or I either go to pubs and watch videos on my iPad, or I sit in the car in the evening cooking and watching Prime Video on my iPad. So Amazon Prime is a really good value, and you get Prime Reading as well, I think, where you can read books on your Kindle, which is another recommendation. Yeah, if like me you really like reading, invest in a Kindle, because then you can have hundreds, thousands of books digitally wherever you go. Now, I guess my final tip here would be just to say, embrace the lifestyle, embrace the kind of digital nomad opportunity you're given if you're either forced to live in a car or you just end up living in a car because you've chosen to. Embrace it. It's really, really nice. I love it. I've been doing this since February 2018 and it's now 2025, August 2025. 6 or 7 years living in a very small vehicle. Just embrace it. I'm not particularly nomadic, so I have a hometown where I used to live in a house on the Isle of Wight. I'm not there now. But you can easily just travel everywhere, just go all over the place, especially if you've got either a remote employment or your own businesses, which you can run on the road, so to speak. So embrace the nomadic, the opportunity to travel around and just enjoy finding new places, meeting new people. Don't stress out about it if you're forced to live in a vehicle. This is rather lovely, isn't it? These old English marigolds flowering, and poppies as well, flowering in these lawns. That's because the council here did manage this area as a kind of a wildflower patch a few years ago. Then they stopped doing that and they put grass seed back down, but the actual native wildflowers the annuals, like this corn marigold here, the yellow stuff, and the poppies, they still come up because there's still disturbed ground in the sward, and it looks rather lovely. It's much nicer than the mown grass that dominates these parks. Quite why the council stopped doing this. Probably cost cutting. It's not cheap creating wildflower patches in parks. It does actually require quite a bit of management, or the way it's done forces people to do management. Anyway, yes, so they are my kind of tips. If you either choose to live in a car, do it, or if you're forced to live in a car, kind of embrace it, I would say, because it's a great lifestyle. It's entirely feasible. It's respectable, in my opinion. There are aspects of it that are a bit difficult. So winter can be a bit tricky. Actually, let's give a few tips on winter. So I do live throughout the winter in first my Berlingo, and for last, I think I've done one winter now in the car. So the winter wasn't particularly cold because I'm on the south coast of the Isle of Wight. Most of the time in winter, or down in Cornwall, it's often wet and humid and dry, but not dry. So you do get condensation building on inside the car, so you'll need to ventilate it. Now, if you're just in a small car, it can be quite difficult to fit in the kind of ventilation systems that van dwellers use, like max air vents and that kind of stuff. So you'll have to just open the window and find a way of waterproofing, or stopping rain getting in when it's raining, because you'll still want the windows open. If it's not cold but it's raining and it's winter, you'll get condensation in the car, which can be problematic, not only because it's a pain having to wipe the moisture off the windows in the morning from the inside of the vehicle, but also because you can get mould developing, black mould, if the air is quite moist and humid, because you're sitting in the car or sleeping in the car overnight in winter. The air will be warm inside and wet, and that can cause black mould to develop, especially on the upholstery, any kind of material basically, and also the metalwork if the air is really stagnant and moist. So make sure you ventilate the vehicle really well, and during the day open it up and let the air go through, which can be difficult in winter when it's raining, and can be difficult security-wise. I've never had an issue security-wise in my vehicle, but plenty of people do. Even when they're not living in it, cars are constantly getting broken into. So bear that in mind. Try and park somewhere where there's CCTV cameras around, where the thieves may be less bold, although these days they're probably not. So I wouldn't be living in a vehicle in London and leaving it there during the day or during the night when I'm not in it, because because the risks are too great. So park somewhere where the risk of actually getting broken into is lower. And if you're in there at night and somebody tries to break into your car, it can be a little bit scary, I would guess. It's only happened to me once, where a couple of guys shone torches in the van windscreen at the time at about 3 a.m, but then they realised I was in there and they scarpered. And and I honestly don't care about that sort of stuff. I can handle myself. So just bear that in mind though. If that sort of stuff does worry you, and if you are vulnerable or you feel vulnerable, then just take precautions like parking in a well-lit kind of fairly busy street overnight. It's obviously, there's a balance between peace and solitude and quiet, and just living somewhere where you're a bit less exposed to risks. It's never been a problem for me. I mean, I'm a single guy living in a car, but I've on one occasion had those guys putting a light through the windscreen, and they were clearly looking to break into cars. And then another occasion where the police turned up, and they were just shining torches in the windscreen, and we communicated, and they said fair enough, and they went, because it's not illegal to live in a car, and the police aren't bothered anyway unless you're causing problems, so don't worry about that at all. So embrace it is my top tip, I suppose. Just make the most of it. It can be a really good lifestyle if you do make the most of it. If you go into it feeling a bit sad about it all, then it can be a horrible lifestyle. But if you're prepared to make the most of it, then it can be superb. Thank you for watching this channel. There's a little booklet I've written on me living in a car and how I'm doing it and what I plan to do in terms of building side incomes. I'm going to be staying in the car or in a vehicle at least, for forever. I don't plan to live in a house. I might buy a little tiny plot of land, an acre, half a hectare eventually, probably on the Isle of Wight, to have a small holding, produce my own veggies, that kind of stuff. But I'm never going to go back into a conventional house unless the law changes, which I don't think it ever will. And even then, I don't think I'll live in a house. I'll just carry on living in my car. Thank you for watching. Read the description, read that little book if you want to get it. You can get it on Amazon. There's a link to that book that I've written on living in a car in the description below this video. And subscribe to the channel and watch some of my other videos, because there's plenty on my lifestyle living in a car on this channel. Thank you. So I hope you're enjoying this video about Ventnor and the Undercliff. If so, then don't forget there are 2 books that I've written. One, Bird Watching Around Ventnor, creatively named, and the second one is Wildlife Watching Around Ventnor. Just short books about the local area that are the subject of this video. Available on Amazon. I'll put a link below this video, and you can also order it from the library, and it's available in all major bookshops, both of these little booklets.